Welcome to Real Talk with Hallie, sharing life's lessons from a biblical perspective. Today's topic, Let's Talk Money, Part 2. If you're enjoying Real Talk with Hallie, a great way of saying thank you is to subscribe and remember to set your notify for you won't miss out on future shares. Now here's Hallie.
Let's talk money. Just a real quick, let's talk money. Tax returns pretty much have come in with everybody. I did a segment on this last year as far as being wise with your tax returns. Let's talk money because there are people out there that are getting their public retirement reimbursement for Social Security because there's a percentage of individuals that were docked. They got only half or a percentage of what they should have got on their Social Security, and now we've got these big checks coming in to say, hey, we're sorry, we're going to reimburse you for the past year, even though we've been keeping the money for 5, 10, whatever years. I think they started practicing that back in the 60s. I need a drink here. So let's talk money. For me, I think, because I'm one of those individuals that got hit with that. When we retired from Nevada, we were told on our Social Security that we don't get our full Social Security because we were public retirement. So they called it double dipping. And now they've come to acknowledge that it's not double dipping, that we've earned it. We put the money into it. And this is more for the boomers out there that have recently retired and they're looking at this. That I want to share with you as far as, because I know for me, you have that like, well, I can go do this or I can go do that or whatever now. That's a one-time pop, and that's only a reimbursement for the past year. I mean, we're shorted all those other years, which is a shame because you really should be reimbursed for everything they kept from you. But let's be real, is the money even there to do that? So be thankful for what we have. And moving forward, I just want to encourage you to get yourself into enjoying, maybe go do a little trip. Don't feel guilty about that. If you got your kids that are raised and they've done their thing, they're adults now. It's okay for you to enjoy a little bit of and do a little something for yourself. Do a little something for yourself. Also, it's a great time if you haven't, and if you've been struggling, pay off those bills. Get rid of that credit card debt. I shared on my previous Money how to clean up credit card debt by playing hardball with the credit card companies. A lot of time, if you talk with them and you share with them that, hey, I want to take responsibility, but this interest rate's killing me, they will freeze your account and set up a payment plan for you. Many times it'll be with zero interest, X amount of months to get it paid off. That is something to consider doing, if you got this little extra money. Also, if you don't have, and you're just listening to this, that's something you can do for yourself as well. If you're struggling with credit card debt, get that communication going with your credit card companies. A lot of times they'll play hardball with you. Now, keep in mind, I am not a financial planner. This is not my area of expertise. As I've shared, this is just sharing life experiences with you, things I've dealt with. And I've dealt with this because raising a family, you have to kind of make those decisions on what's more important. And sometimes the bills are not as important as getting food on the table. And so you run up your credit card and then now you can't, manage because you're off kilter with your expenditures. First things first, make a budget. Budget. And it sucks, but budget. Discipline yourself to live within that budget. And in that budget, put in there the forgiveness of having to pivot and start over again. because you're going to. That budget is a living document that's going to be constantly tweaked and changed. But do your best to live within a budget and write your expenditures down. And I do that periodically, even now, even though we're pretty much debt-free. We have our house payment, of course. But I've done that just to keep me in alignment, to show me where my expenditures are going. Another little trick that I do is on my my bank account. I have a couple different bank accounts. One I use for savings and such, operational expenses, and then one I use to where the money goes in, I pay the bills. And then I transfer the rest into savings where I can make that higher interest. I just don't let my money sit in an account that's not going to pay me some type of decent interest rate. Not that I'm affiliated with or anything like that, but Capital One pays a pretty nice little interest rate for just a basic savings account. And it's more of an online account, but if you're set up with them, you can go to the ATMs like at Circle K and stuff like that, and you don't get charged a fee because they know that they don't have the brick and mortar building. They're more brought up to date. So look at that. And like I said, I'm not affiliated with them. That's just what works for me. And on my bills, what I do is I have it set up because when my esophagus tore years ago and I was in a coma and all that fun stuff, it was an aha moment for me that I can't be the only one that knows what's going on here because life goes on with or without Hallie. So I set up the school that I was a secretary with. I got together with my principal and my clinic aide at the time, hey Sue, and kind of shared with them what was going on and how I had things going and stuff. That way, sorry, my Siri came on here. That way, if something was to happen to me again, they knew how things were going. And I did the same thing at home. So I have my account set up to where my bill pay, like when I get paid, I go through and I pay everything because I know. And then I have my online bills come in for, it's there. So I don't do that. Remember the checkbook balance? That they made me crazy. I don't need to deal with that no more. So that's just, I just check, and I check every day to make sure there's no strange activity going on in my accounts. And I've caught it a few times where I just contact the bank and say, hey, that's an unauthorized charge. They take care of it, reboot, pivot, get a new card, and move on. So another thing is if you're buying stuff online, don't buy it with your debit card. Get a separate card, like a separate credit card, and use that just for your online purchases. That way, if you do have something that's funky, it happens, you can contact the bank, and then your actual account is not tied up with things being frozen. So have a separate card for your online purchases. That's just something that makes life easier. So do that. Also, another way to save your money, and such as I share this all the time on my creative channel. I'm always telling them 90% off. Buy things after the holidays. And you're going to laugh at this, but it's so true. My family has gotten so used to it. They start telling me after Christmas what they want for next year because I shop all year long. I look for the best deals possible, and that's how I score them. I spoil the heck out of them, but I also have a budget that I live within, and I make that budget go as far as I can. I am a firm believer in using Kohl's Cash. Macy's does that as well. I love my rewards that I get off my credit card that I use for gift cards. That's no money out of my pocket. I'm making the purchase anyway. So I use my credit card. I get the rewards. I pay off my credit card every month. We're good. I pay off that balance every month, and then I get my rewards as well. And then the same with Kohl's. I buy when it's like 30, 20% off, even sometimes 40, and when they're offering Kohl's Cash. And then I buy it when it's on clearance as well. So like, here's an example. I've already bought pajamas for my whole family because that's my jam. That's what I do. So I bought the pajamas for my family in February because they blow them out. They blow Christmas pajamas out. Whatever's left over, they don't want that in stock, so they blow them out. So I picked those up like $30 pajamas for like $8. So everybody has their pajamas. They're tucked away for next year. And you're like, well, what do you do when they're growing? Project growth. I mean, my grandson is a size 7 right now, so I figure he'll be an 8 to a 10 by Christmas. So there you go. And I do that with my grands. I mean, my grandnieces, I do the same thing. I get a hold of mom and say, what size are they right now? And then I kind of, okay, so they're probably going to grow this much. And if not, no big deal. I mean, if they're a little big on them, they're pajamas. And that's kind of how I roll as far as being able to get more bang for your buck. And these are just little tidbit things that it's fun to share as far as like if you're into crafting and things like that. And like I shared on my craft channel, I share this. If you go in after the holidays to Michael's and Hobby Lobby and stuff, usually January-ish, because Hobby Lobby blows them out a little bit sooner than Michael's does. But January, after the holidays, January-ish, first part of February, you're going to score on Christmas decor for the next year, holiday decor. And Christmas ribbon, red, white, blue, green. You can use that all year long. Green is for St. Patrick's, red is for Valentine's Day, blue is blue, white goes with anything. So that's how I score my ribbons and stuff, and just kind of keep an eye out, things like that. So just kind of start shopping wisely. Just a little tidbits that I'm sharing with you. Ways to save some money, and talk to your credit card companies. And sometimes they'll say, well, we're not going to work with you, blah, blah, blah. And I finally got an attitude when I went through this years ago, and they're saying, well, we're not going to work with you. You got to keep your payments. I go, well, I can't be making my payments and be backpedaling and only paying interest. This isn't going to work. I know what my income is and what I'm making. And in order to clear this up, you're killing me with the interest rate. I mean, come on, 20+% interest rate, that's usury. And so when you talk to the credit card companies, here's something that I actually shared this with my kiddos, and they did it, and it worked. And I've done it, and it worked. But you have to be very firm about it. And I picked this up from those companies that say, we'll clean up your credit for you, yada, yada, yada. And after talking with them and everything, basically what they were telling me they were going to do is have me stop making my payments. Then they would negotiate with the credit card companies to set up a payment plan for me. And then we would move forward with the payment plan company. And I'm thinking, well, I can kind of do that myself. I don't need you to negotiate for me and then charge me a fee in order to do that. I'm a big girl. So what I did is I stopped my payment. I contacted the companies first and said, okay, here's what's going to happen. You can set up a payment plan with me and bring the interest rate down to something reasonable that we both can agree on. And I will make the payments and make that commitment, or I'm going to stop making payments. And then when you realize that I'm serious about what I'm suggesting and that I'm trying to work with you, we'll come back to the table and renegotiate. But then I don't want to pay interest at all. At that point, if you're going to mess up my credit because you're not going to work with me, then I'm going to play hardball. So a lot of them negotiated the interest rate down to like 1% and 2%. It was crazy. And I was like, wow. And then I even had a couple of them that no interest. It's like, just make the payments. We'll give you this amount of time. Just let's get it paid off. Because like I told them, I take responsibility. I ran this up. I own it. I need to pay it. But you need to work with me before I can. And then the ones that I quit making the payments on, he came back to the table about 3 months later. They contact me. And I said, when you're willing to work with me, I'll work with you. I want to pay it. I own it. And they finally realized I meant business. I had no interest. So on a couple of them, like I said, I did have to pay a little bit of interest, but for the most part, it was like, okay, we're not going to charge you interest. This is going to be what can you pay every month that you can commit to and stay to. And X amount of months, we're going to have this paid off. And that's what I did. And it worked. And like I said, I've shared that with other kids and stuff like that, and it works. So you just have to be hard-nosed. You need to work with them, and you need to make them understand that I own it. and I owe it and I want to pay it, but I can't pay you 20+% interest or even 10% interest because it's killing me. I can't do it. And they'll work with you. So there's that for most part. And again, like I said, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing you my life experience, what I've gone through. And I want to pass that on to you because I know there are so many of you out there that are struggling with credit card debt because it's too easy to use. And here's the thing, cut up your credit cards. You don't need them anymore. If you have a problem with credit, if you have a problem with gambling, if you have a problem with shopping, then you need to acknowledge that and move on. My mother-in-law once told me, Hallie, you're not getting a good deal if you're buying stuff that you can't afford. And it's like, so true. And I've always worked, so I've always had money. So it's never been an issue. But you can get yourself where you spend more than what you're bringing in, and then it's an issue. And then life comes at you, especially when you have children, unexpected expenses that you never thought of because they're unexpected. That's why they're called unexpected expenditures. So you need to put that into your budget. Unexpected expenditure, what they call a rainy day fund. So have that set up too. I think everyone should have at least 3 months in savings of what it would cost. If everything was to shut down, it would take about 3 months for it to get kicked back up. You need to have 3 months in, if something was to happen. It happens. You get sick. I wasn't expecting to be in a coma for a week and out of work for half a year, while I healed up and everything. It happens. The unexpected happens. And prayerfully that will never happen to you, but you need to be prepared for it. Fortunately, my husband and I at the time, I had a really good job. I had great insurance and everything was fine. I had people that stood behind us through our church and through my family at my work and everything. We had such an amazing support system. And that's what you need. You need to have a support system. You need to have a rainy day fund, and you need to be set up for emergencies. And this is more for the young people out there that just think you are invincible. And look at your expenditures, negotiate getting things cleaned up. Your tax refunds have come in. Prayerfully, you haven't had to pay. Some of you have your PERS where you're getting your reimbursed from your Social Security because they said, oops, we probably shouldn't have done that to you. We'll give you back at least a year. You've got those, and that's a really good time for you to clean things up. So with that being said, I'm going to jump off here because we've talked long enough. And until next time, thanks for hanging out with me. I know of all the places and podcasts and vlogs that you could jump onto. You jumped onto mine. And I hope that I gave you information that will help you move forward in life and be successful and just kind of take a little weight off of you. And if you are into arts and crafts and things like that, check out Hallies Creations, my little Hallies channel there. And get yourself into a great support system. That's really important. Maybe some home fellowships or something like that. And Larry Barquette is another good resource for finances. If you want to check out his channel, he gives some great insight. In fact, that's where we've gleaned a lot of our insight from over the years. And until next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. Thanks for hanging out with me. And have a good day and a better tomorrow. Peace out. Bye.